My name is Michael Altorfer. I'm the CEO of the Swiss Biotech Association. I present this summary of the Swiss contribution to the global response to the COVID-19 pandemic in the context of the virtual SACS New Coronavirus Investor Forum on July 7, 2020. In summary, Switzerland plays a key role in the global response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Like all other countries in the short term, the main objectives were aiming at getting the pandemic under control inside of Switzerland, while maintaining open supply chains and helping to secure a functional global healthcare system. In parallel, all parts of the Swiss Life Science Hub collaborated to tackle the virus and the impact of the infections on various fronts. Whether the objectives was to provide rapid testing, the repurposing of well-known drugs, or the development of new COVID-19 specific vaccines and therapeutics, Switzerland was advancing projects in all fields. Here I just highlight a few names of Swiss biotech companies that develop new vaccines, or therapeutics, or rapid diagnostics, and I will exemplify some of these projects in more detail later in the presentation. The International Council of Biotech Associations, the ICBA, is tracking the COVID-19 projects around the world. And while the number of projects is still increasing, Switzerland has been listed in the third position just after the US and China, based on the number of projects contributed by Swiss pharma, biotech, and manufacturing companies or universities and university hospitals. But before detailing some of the COVID response projects, let me focus on the short-term measures Switzerland has initiated to control the pandemic inside of Switzerland. Like all other European countries, Switzerland reacted with a partial lockdown of the economy in mid-March and strict social distancing rules, closing of most shops and restaurants, and later also followed by the closing of the universities and schools. These measures have been successful, as demonstrated by the development of number of new COVID cases, and in May and June, the lockdown could be lifted stepwise. Although the number of new cases has been slightly increasing at the end of June, so far a second wave has been avoided. Given the central role Switzerland is playing in the healthcare sector, the main focus was not only to keep the spreading of the virus under control, but to also carefully support the global supply chains. The Swiss pharma and biotech companies have been exporting pharmaceuticals and diagnostics valued at close to $100 billion in 2019, and multinational companies that are based in Switzerland or have their international headquarters in Switzerland supply healthcare products around the globe. It was remarkable that despite the rapid global spreading of the pandemic, by and large, dramatic supply chain interruptions have been avoided. On June 22nd, Switzerland was considered to be the safest country with regard to the COVID threat, and of course, we want to be careful to keep it that way. So overall, Switzerland has been successful in controlling the pandemic inside of Switzerland and in supporting global supply chains to remain functional. Rapid measures were also taken to provide relief to the companies and personnel affected by the lockdown. But while short-term relief was fast and effective, it is too early to judge how the economy will recover and to what extent there will be mid- and long-term damage. The Swiss response to the pandemic started even before the first infections were reported in Switzerland. The Swiss life science landscape is a tight cross-functional network of scientists, manufacturers, biotech and pharma companies, and leading hospitals. They can all rely on decades of experience, robust infrastructure, and excellent international networks in the scientific community, the pharma and biotech industries, as well as at political levels. 3 weeks before the first case was identified on Swiss soil, scientists at the high-security lab managed to make a synthetic clone of the coronavirus and to determine what differentiates the new COVID-19 from the SARS virus. Most importantly, they tried to find out how to weaken the virus and to identify potential therapeutic targets suitable for the development of the therapeutics that could block the virus, weaken it, or hinder its progression in the body. Their accomplishments were getting worldwide attention, and they shared their results with other labs internationally. The other players that could act fast and with a worldwide reach were the multinational pharma companies. Novartis and a consortium of life science companies have partnered to accelerate the research and development of potential vaccines, diagnostics, and treatment for the novel coronavirus disease. They are committed to share the data with the COVID-19 Therapeutics Accelerator, created by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Wellcome, and MasterCard. Together with its partner Incyte, Novartis started a repurposing effort to test their drug Jakavi. Jakavi is used in adults with bone marrow cancer or myelofibrosis, amongst other conditions. Novartis and Incyte want to see if it helps COVID-19 patients suffering from an immune system overreaction, also called cytokine storm. Similarly, Roche initiated a global phase 3 study with Actemra, indicated for the treatment of patients with rheumatoid arthritis. Roche is collecting data on Actemra's potential utility in severe COVID-19 pneumonia patients. In addition, Roche was working around the clock to increase the availability of COVID-19 tests in all countries of the world, and Roche's worldwide distribution network and testing centers have played a central role in determining the spreading of the virus and in helping doctors and politicians alike to establish effective measures and to react quickly. Swiss biotech companies are smaller than the multinational pharma giants, but together they also invest heavily into their R&D pipeline. In 2019, the sum of the R&D investments of the roughly 300 Swiss biotech companies exceeded 2 billion Swiss francs or US dollars. However, naturally, none of them had planned for a COVID-19 related projects in the 2020 budgets. Nevertheless, the Swiss biotech companies have rapidly established new development projects aiming at the development of COVID-19 vaccines, therapeutics, or rapid diagnostics. This slide summarizes the approaches of Cyber Biotech and Inomedica. Both companies can rely on proprietary technologies that have been successfully applied to develop vaccines before. They both have secured production pathways so that they could handle the production of vaccines if the project successfully passed preclinical and clinical tests. Cyber Biotech has been quite outspoken and suggested that if all goes well, a vaccine could become available still in 2020. While it may be too optimistic to expect that everything works perfectly, these approaches demonstrate that companies that can apply technologies they know well and support rapid vaccine production can offer an opportunity to provide a contribution to the global response to this pandemic. The next slide summarizes the approaches of Molecular Partners and Huma Biomed, a subsidiary of Vir Biotechnology based in Bellinzona. Both companies can rely on proprietary technologies that have been successfully applied to develop highly selective biologics, DARPins and antibodies respectively. Whereas the DARPin technology of Molecular Partners offers the option to develop multi-specific therapeutics, Vir Biotechnology is taking multiple approaches, including the development of RNAi therapeutics. Also, these companies have secured partnerships early on to ensure that these therapeutics could be produced in large-scale GMP manufacturing, provided that the clinical tests confirm the efficacy and safety of these COVID-19 specific therapeutic candidates. Last but not least, there are also biotech companies that develop COVID-19 diagnostics. This slide summarizes the approaches of Quotient and Endo Diagnostics. Both companies have launched rapid COVID-19 diagnostics. They demonstrated that such diagnostics can be developed rapidly if smart and experienced teams put their mind to it. Whereas the test of Quotient detects antibodies that bind to COVID, the Endo test recognizes COVID-specific RNA sequences. Both companies have demonstrated that the tests are highly reliable and fast, and they complement the diagnostic options the leader Roche is offering. The last element of the Swiss contribution to the global response to the COVID pandemic is the manufacturing know-how and the capacity. Over the past 15 years, significant investments have been made into biopharmaceutical production sites in Switzerland. Biotech and CSL Behring alone have invested more than 2 billion Swiss francs in this sector in just the last 3 years. And Novartis has recently opened its production center for cell therapies. These investments have not only helped to continuously increase the export contribution of the pharma and biotech sector to the overall exports of Switzerland, but they also now enable Switzerland to play an important role when it comes to the production of COVID-specific vaccines and therapeutics. The most visible showcase is the collaboration between Moderna and Lonza. Arguably, Moderna has launched the most advanced vaccine projects, and Lonza has confirmed its availability and capacity to secure its production based on mRNA technology. However, this is just one of the showcases. All other developers of COVID-19 specific therapies or vaccines will also require substantial production capacity and expertise so that successful development candidates can also become available in time and at the scale required. This completes my summary of the Swiss contribution to the global COVID-19 response. As you can see, this response was not only successful with regard to bringing the pandemic under control in Switzerland, but at the same time, Switzerland could indeed provide a strong support to the global supply chains and the availability of various types of COVID tests. And Switzerland has helped to fill the global pipeline of candidate projects for the repurposing of well-known drugs or the development of new COVID-specific vaccines and therapeutics. With this, I would like to close my presentation and wish you all an interesting and successful investor forum. If you would like to know more about the Swiss life science landscape or more specifically about the Biotech Hub in Switzerland, do not hesitate to contact us or check out our publications.